should gotta move on. You should gotta move on. They're kings and we got it. Yeah, we done got it. They're gonna got it. Yeah, we got it. Yeah, we done got it. Yeah, we done got it. Yeah, we done got it. They got it. They got it. Yeah, we done got it. They got it. They got it. Yeah.
What no one tells you about living in Korea. Let's see what we interesting, you know what I'm saying, host. Seems like she's from that Korea from her. She looked like she's from Korea herself. She looked like she's staring dead at me. Chill out. Anyways, she's talking about how racism, culture, whoa, and dating. Alright.
Welcome back to today's video. Please bear with me. The sun is going down. Or it's not going down, but it's snowing today, so the lighting isn't as great. So I'm just gonna have to work with it. Lately, I realized that it's kind of a big trend to like come to Korea and experience all the great things here. And you know,
I have no idea it was a trend. You know what I'm saying? I really knew that a lot of continents don't like America. You know what I'm saying? Understandably. But as far as she's talking about trend, I'm like Patrick, bro. I live under a rock. That's the trends. I don't really stay on top of that stuff. Boomer for sure. You know what I'm saying? But let's digress.
Rise of K-waves and stuff like that. There's a lot of people that kind of romanticize what living in Korea is really like, and then
for the people that romanticize, at least do some, you know, some research, because not everything is what it seems.
I see a lot of videos that are these foreigners coming into Korea and making videos about how Koreans are racist, or there's really thirsty guys here and they end up miserable actually living here. So
what did I say? Did I say do your research? Then look what happened. At least do some, you know, some research.
I just wanted to make this video to talk about what living in Korea is actually like. I kind of touched on these subjects a little bit when I made the why I left Korea video and 10 bizarre rules that Korean high schools might have, so you can check those out as well. But in today's video, I just wanted to touch on a couple topics that are kind of triggering, and also I want to touch on them not in a way of saying like I hate Korea, don't come here, but just to have realistic goals of what your life might be like when you actually do end up moving here. Just hope that it would just be like a friend that is actually living here giving you advice to other people that might be wondering what it's like to live there. So the first subject that I want to talk about is racism. Koreans are hella racist. Hella racist. They're so racist.
Oh, that's
if you
dope.
are not white people, you don't have a problem. You guys are.
Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. Hey, the white folks had no problem. Respect to that. But us, you know what I'm saying, I pull up in there, you know what I'm saying, do my thing, and next thing you know, I'm behind bars and stuff.
Find a great job here no matter what. I'm in the works of recruiting people, so I'm reaching out to Western teachers that might be interested in coming to Korea and going to work at a school or an institution. It's a really great job. You just teach English basically, and they provide you housing and food and all of that, which is really great. So side note, if you are interested or just want more information, reach out to me and I will do my best to help you. But anyway, if you are a white blue-eyed person, you probably will have no trouble coming here and adjusting. I mean, there are still some like rude comments that you might face, but nothing quite compared to what other, you know, people of color might face. That is, you know, obviously including.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? When it comes to racism, I honestly don't care, because it's easy to own with that. If you're racist, hey, accountability, equal rights, equal less. It would give the treatment from each side of the spectrum. Black, white, the whole Crayola.
So racist towards Southeast Asians. It's crazy. There's a lot of like side remarks that they'll make, and they kind of have a feeling, I'm talking about Koreans, that they kind of have a feeling that you don't speak any Korean, so that's why they would just say really rude stuff like right in front of you. You know, my Filipino friends who...
Accountability also, if you don't know, speaks every language. So you'll be caught in 4K. I might not be able to know what you're saying, you know what I'm saying? But that's not my responsibility. All I gotta do is keep it moving, keep it pushing, you know what I'm saying? Accountability got my back. So y'all talking behind my back, accountability on my back, so he's gonna watch y'all. Caught in 4K. The good walk you go.
Daily interactions they would have, like a cab driver calling.
And I don't mind if you talk about me. I actually don't mind it at all. You know, it's not bad living in people's head rent free. Yeah, I mean, maybe me, but for me, you know what I'm saying, I don't mind being talked about. You can talk about me. I could be your main topic of the day. I don't mind. It makes me feel, you know what I'm saying, important. I already know I'm important. That's why I'm on your head rent free. You don't have to be a bad thing. Some people can make it as that. Like she said, people that talk about you and stuff in a bad manner. Some people can talk about you in a good manner. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is.
So stuff like that, like there's always an underlying like racism undertone there, which is really awful, and I feel like it's still a work in progress. Like Korea, if you don't know the whole history of Korea, it's just we've developed really, really quick, and we've globalized a lot of our culture, so it attracts a lot of overseas like tourists and just people that want to come here and buy the makeup products.
That's
or
true.
Go to the places that the Korea stars promote. But I think our culture in a way just can't keep up with how we are attracting all these people so fast. In schools, we don't talk about racism, we don't talk about colorism, anything like that. And it's just, if you make a racist joke, there's no one to call you out on it. Everyone just laughs. It's in a lot of comedy shows. And, like, I'm not blaming Koreans per se. It's just...
This is what I believe, okay? Nothing on her. But everybody goes through their trials and tribulations. Some learn, some don't. But hopefully, I hope that these people will learn from their mistakes to gain experience. If you don't learn from your mistakes, you don't gain experience. You know what you do gain? I would play it, but I'm not going to. Gain everything from Midtown. Simple.
There needs to be more development in educating ourselves with what is hurtful, what is racist, and what is, not okay to do or say. So racism, you are going to experience racism. I think just anywhere you go. There's also like really nice...
I experience that every day. Excuse me. I experience that every day. Liberal racism. I experience that a lot, especially when they talk. It's like you can't really do nothing. If you look at it from a reasonable viewpoint, you can't do nothing when they talk about you and stuff. Because in a way, they're doing it, maneuvering in a snake lean manner where, you know what I'm saying, they slip through the cracks and you can't even confront them. Because you gonna look like the aggressor. And if I look at it from a third person view, I will look at it the same as you, the aggressor, because it takes two people to fight, for one. For two, whoever is that's less self-controlled is gonna be looked at as the culprit. I'm sorry, you're the imposter. But if you take it as a calmly manner, right, it's still not gonna look right, because just being in a conflict is just not it. It's not it. Too much negativity, overflowing freely, it's just disturbing. I just personally, the method I use is, probably already heard me say that earlier. Kim Kip, K-I-M-K-I-P. Keep it moving, keep it pushing.
People here, so don't like be scared that everyone's gonna be racist. There's also really nice people here that are going to be so intrigued that you decided to come to Korea and you're exploring. Like, we don't really have culture appropriation in our culture, if that makes sense. So we would culture appropriate all these other countries without thinking that it's culture appreciation. The same way that you can wear hanboks, like the Korean traditional dresses for Halloween, you can do that, I guess, for the majority of Koreans, even for me as well. Like, I don't mind when other people wear like Korean traditional dresses, because it's like you're appreciating our culture. Like, we take pride in that instead of saying that it's appropriation. I don't want to say the word, but the sexual assault culture that goes on here in Korea, it is freaking insane. Like, it is insane. I didn't really think that it was insane until I started living in another country and experiencing their culture, their night culture. Korea is known for the night culture that we have. You know, there's all these great clubs.
This is the streets 4.0. Imagine the streets in America. The streets over there, different level. They different level.
You can get into for free if you're a girl. Guys are always looking into talking to you, obviously trying to get in your pants, but talking to you, buying you food, buying you drinks. And a lot of people just kind of like naively get into it for girls. It's free drinks, it's free food, of course. But there's always going to be like, they want something from you.
You know, this might be, you know, some sad news for some who run away from the kind of business. You can try to hide, you know, maneuver, it don't matter. It really doesn't. Accountability will bring you back, you know what I'm saying, to the gulag.
But it's like, I know that's like that in every single country, but it's just way worse here, that you really need to take care of yourself when you go out, because there's no one that's, I don't want to say it, but there's really no one that's going to help you, because in our culture, you know, no.
I mean, they know what accountability is, so.
No one really checks up on another. You are basically strangers, you know. When you are out in public, no one's really gonna be like, hey, how are you? No one really makes small talk here. So, you know, everyone just minds their own business, and then if they see something shady going on, they also mind their business because they just don't want to get into it. So you really need to take care of yourselves, or you really need to go out with people that are going to take good care of you. That is like the main thing. These guys, they are so gross. Like, they're just so freaking gross. I was really shocked when I went out for the first time when I was like 18, I guess, when I first turned legal, which was 18, 19. I don't go out anymore. But when I went out, I was so shocked because people in Korea are very conservative, or I thought they were really conservative. They don't really talk about sexual things, I guess. But then when you go out, it's like after 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. when you go out to all these places, they are like, it's like all of that they've been like suppressing and hiding just kind of blows up, and it's just insane. It's not okay for you to do that, and they're just,
you know what I'm saying? That's tough!
I get like heated every time I talk about it because there's so much shit that goes on, and then I went out not intentionally, but I friends. I didn't intend to go out, but it was like a year ago, I guess, when I first came here, and there was a little, I don't want to say little, but she was like 18, so that's like little to me. She came with us, and she was just so naive, and she was just clueless of what was going on, and I was just so shocked because there's guys that are going to there's a huge lineup of guys that are trying to take advantage of you every time you go out. So I don't want to scare anyone, but especially if you are a foreigner, there's a lot of guys that just want to hook up with a foreigner, just to say that they've hooked up with a foreigner, and they think that they have a stereotype that in, you know, the Western cultures you are more sexually active or more not, what's the opposite of conservative? So when you're in high school, you start talking about these things, but then drinking games, it's not just like never have I ever put a finger down. It's not like that. It's really just so sick. Like, I don't know, like they're just always trying to take advantage of girls, and it's so gross. And I just would never stop speaking out about this because it's a huge problem that does need to change here. Just because you're drunk, there's still a couple laws here that apply, that can exempt you from getting punished or a lawsuit happening if you say, oh, I was drunk. Then they're like, oh, then you weren't really yourself, huh? So that is also really messed up. It's just, you know, underlying, you know, the culture here. No one talks about this, but in schools, in subways, in public bathrooms, in spas, there are secret cameras, right? There's freaking secret cameras that are installed by these pervs, and they are spying on these people. I don't know, it's so sick. Especially like in the subways, if you take a subway here, there's all these like ads that are saying, oh, if you take a picture, that is, you know, punishable by law. So if it's there in the subway as an ad, then you know that it's actually happening too much, right? On an everyday basis. So girls are always wearing like little shorts underneath their skirts, especially if you are taking the subway or if you're taking public transportation, because there's guys that are going to like sneak their phones.
I can't even imagine the fathers, the fathers for these kids. And this is why accountability, equal rights, equal lefts. These goofs that are entertaining this activities or involved in it from a suspect, from an imposter or a culprit suspect side. Hey man, accountability is on your case. The movement getting stronger. Basically, she was talking about career. There's a lot of tough things about that, but understandably, it's a lot happening. Like the same similar things here in America and the different continents. There's a lot of stuff that's out of pocket. Like for the girls out there, for the women, if you go to Korea, she said that after 9 you will get groped. I'm sorry. After 9 outside, you will get groped, because the guys that said, she said, especially when it hits 5 or 6 a.m. too, later on, hours later, those guys like that be around at 5 or 6 a.m. are the demon seamen. I repeat, they are the demon seamen. She said that their taxi or whatever, and the taxi driver minds his business, understandably so. He's only looking at his attributes and reasonably saying, I can't help her because I would get beat up too. Reasonably, you know what I'm saying? So nothing against the taxi driver, but that's tough. You feel me? That's tough. And she said she's trying to, like, you know, be aware of it and stuff, and that is very tough.
You know what I'm saying? That's tough. You know what I'm saying? I ain't saying nothing, but that's tough. My nigga.
안녕.
안녕, Tiana Hong, 안녕. Yes, sir.